Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down the incredible story of the new king of AI memory, SK Hynix. We'll look at its unbelievable rise, but also the hidden risks that could bring it all crashing down. So get this, for the first time ever, a rival memory maker has actually beaten the mighty Samsung in annual profit. Yeah, you heard that right. And we're talking about a staggering number here. That's 47.21 trillion Korean won, a record-breaking operating profit for fiscal year 2025. It all comes down to this massive 8-year bet that is finally, and I mean finally, paying off in a huge way. All right, so let's get into it. How exactly did SK Hynix pull this off? How did they manage to seize the crown right at the heart of the AI revolution? Well, it all comes down to one single critical piece of technology. You can think of it as the ultimate bottleneck in the whole AI supply chain. It's something that every single advanced chip absolutely needs to work. So what is it? It's called high bandwidth memory, or HBM. The easiest way to think about it is like a super fast data highway built right next to the AI's brain. Without this highway, even the most powerful GPUs from someone like NVIDIA would just starve for information. They'd be completely useless. And this is exactly why their lead is such a big deal. Making HBM isn't just about, stacking a few chips on top of each other. No way. It's about drilling thousands of microscopic tunnels with mind-boggling precision. We're talking nanometer-level stuff. Mastering this incredibly difficult process is what gave SK Hynix an 8-year head start on basically everyone. And what does an 8-year head start get you? Well, it gets you this: total market dominance. For fiscal year 2025, SK Hynix controlled a whopping 60% of the market for this absolutely essential AI component. It's a huge lead. But here's where the story gets really interesting, because SK Hynix's dominance, it isn't entirely their own. There's a secret partner in the mix, and this partner, well, they kind of hold the keys to the whole kingdom. See, right now, with today's HBM, SK Hynix controls the most important part themselves, this thing called the base die. So their dependency on others is pretty low. But in the future, for the next generation, HBM4, that all changes. A partner, the giant TSMC, is going to make that critical base die for them. And just like that, their dependency goes through the roof. This introduces a massive, massive hidden risk. So think about what this means. The whole system becomes a risky triangle. TSMC makes the AI GPU. TSMC also makes the HBM-based controller. And SK Hynix, they just put their memory stack on top. Suddenly, they're a critical member of the team, for sure, but they're not the one calling the shots anymore. And they now have to fight for TSMC's attention and resources against other massive customers like Apple, AMD, and NVIDIA. Not a great spot to be in. And as if that new dependency wasn't enough, there are other threats on the horizon. The giants are waking up, their old rivals, and even some of their powerful partners, they're starting to close in. First up, you've got the wounded giant, Samsung. You just know they're not happy about being dethroned. They have the money, they have the scale, and now they have all the motivation in the world to pour unbelievable amounts of resources into this, to catch up and take back their crown. Then there's the silent assassin, Micron. Now, Micron doesn't have to be the best. They don't even have to try. They just need to be good enough and cheaper. And that's enough to start chipping away, bit by bit, at SK Hynix's amazing record-high profit margins. And what about their most powerful ally, who could also be their biggest foe? We're talking about NVIDIA. They're SK Hynix's biggest customer, with over 70% of the HBM4 orders. That gives them incredible power. They can lean on SK Hynix, force price cuts, and demand they bring in other suppliers to keep things competitive. NVIDIA holds all the cards here. If you want to understand the brutal reality of the memory industry, just look at this chart. It's a total roller coaster. In fiscal year 2023, a massive, devastating loss of 7.7 trillion won. Then, just 2 years later, a record profit of over 47 trillion won. The swings are just wild. And history tells us over and over again that these massive blooms are almost always followed by devastating busts. So where does this leave us? Is SK Hynix's reign here to stay, or is it just temporary? Let's weigh the bull case against the bear case. Okay, so you've got this double-edged sword. The bull case is strong, right? They have an 8-plus-year technology lead that is seriously hard to copy. They have this one-team partnership going with TSMC and NVIDIA. And, of course, record profits. But the bear case is just as compelling. Samsung and Micron are catching up, fast. That partnership creates a huge dependency, and those brutal industry cycles we just saw can wipe out profits in the blink of an eye. You know, the source material really hits the nail on the head with this quote. It says, SK Hynix is not a long-term compounder. It is the king of a temporary choke point. That perfectly captures the tension here, right? Their success isn't about some permanent, unshakable kingdom. It's about being the absolute master of a temporary advantage. And that really leaves us with the big question. It's not just about SK Hynix, but about any company that reaches the top in the crazy, volatile tech industry. How long can a temporary king really keep the crown?